Hey Facebook, good afternoon. Popping in for a midweek Facebook. It is Wednesday. Again, I'm all over the place in regards to when I pop these Facebook Lives up, but hopefully we'll get some live viewers on here, and if not, many of you obviously can be watching this on the replay or perhaps watching it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, which that's just a quick note. I would like to go ahead and say I do have a YouTube channel. You can look me up at Claire Smith Official. You can find me there. You can find me on my blog, clairesmith.me. You can find me on Instagram, which is Claire Smith Official. I've tried to keep it pretty consistent as much as possible. I do have a Pinterest page. And of course, you guys are here on Facebook. So you already know how to find me here. So, okay, let's go ahead and build an audience. Where are you from? Where are you from? This is always one of my favorite pieces to the Facebook Live, is finding out where you guys are from. I'm in Ohio, and hey, you know what? It's been hitting like 90 degrees lately, which is super exciting because it was kind of cold last week. So we're enjoying a lot of sun here with a little bit of rain. So anyways, all right, yeah, so tell me, where are you from real quick while we're building an audience, and we'll kind of go from there. Hi, Joyce. I see you on there because we're friends. Let me gather my notes here. Hey there from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Joyce from Ohio, baby. That's right. We love Ohio. All right, so we have some people on here gaining about 20 or so live viewers, which is great. All right, well, I hope the topic, the title kind of caught you a little bit and stopped you in your tracks, because kind of meant to, actually. So, oh, hey, Jen. How are you? 93 in Missouri. Wow. Jody, Southwest Florida. Girl, it's always hot there. My brother lives in Florida now, and it's always hot and humid or something. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get going. I'll say hi to y'all later, but feel free to tell me where you're from as you're in here. Okay, so wanting the body God didn't give you. That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I actually had this topic in mind last week. One, for a personal reason, and then secondly, with a conversation I had with someone. That's often how these Facebook Lives are chosen, and I figure things out. It's because real life, something's happened, I've had a conversation, I'm getting multiple comments, or I've just, am dealing with the issue personally. After all, I am human, just like you guys. And so we're going to talk about this a little bit. And as I was kind of brainstorming, when I get on these Facebook Lives, I kind of brain dump a little bit and just feel like, where's God calling me to speak? What's he want me to say? And I realized I had more than I thought that I had to say about this topic. And so we're going to hang in there and kind of get through this. And so I hope that it's an encouragement to you. I want you to know, I had planned on doing this Facebook Live today, and let me tell you, Satan does not want me to tell you what I'm going to be telling you today, because I have come up against so much even within the past 4 hours to get this going. And so I feel like this is a powerful message. And so I've already prayed about this. I've asked God to bring the viewers and those who need to hear this message. I have prayed against Satan, bound him. And so we are ready to come out with the truth of what we need to hear, what I believe the Lord would like you to hear today. So, all right. So wanting the body God didn't give you. What happens? Let me give you a sample of this. A lot of women will come to me and we'll talk about, getting in shape and such. And a lot of times they will say things like, I really like X person's body. Now, it could be a friend, it could be a sister, it could be a trainer like on The Biggest Loser, it could be their favorite Beachbody coach or instructor, whatever. So various people, right? We all kind of have those people where we're like, girl, that girl has a sick body. Sick as in, good, cool. And maybe some of you were like, this is super shallow. I'm checking out on this Facebook right now. And that's totally fine. I get it. This is perhaps a little shallow because we're talking about the physical part of the body, but it's a real issue. And so I feel like I need to address it. So they come to me and they say this, right? And so they're wanting to look like somebody. And I'm like, okay, while I think it's okay for you to have some sort of like an inspirational person to look up to, yeah, I don't really have a problem with that. I often think that we're not very realistic about that. And so we try to chase this body and this look that is something that no matter how hard we would work for, we probably would not get, okay? And so I'm here to tell you today that it is entirely possible that the body that you're trying to go for, whether it's somebody else's that you really like, that you're inspired by, or maybe it's a previous version of your body. And let me say, like, if you're in your 40s and 50s and you're like, I wish I had my 21-year-old body or something like that, maybe God is trying to tell you that that's not what he gave you ever or for this particular season. So the first point that I would like to talk about is this. Understand that there are different body types. There are actually physically different body types. And so when you are looking at your own body, and maybe you're playing that comparison game and you're like, I'm losing weight, but I still don't look like her. I want you to understand that our bodies are different. There are three basic types. One is a mesomorph, one's an endomorph, and one is an ectomorph. Now, in my household, we have two distinct body types. My husband is 6'5", super skinny, okay? And he is an ectomorph. He is long and lean. And that bro, it is a lot for him to put on some muscle. He naturally just keeps weight off, and it's not an issue at all for him. He has his share of issues because he is an ectomorph. I, on the other hand, I'm a mesomorph, which means I kind of have a more muscular, athletic kind of a build. Very easy for me to put on muscle. Also very easy for me to gain some weight as well. I'm kind of in that middle area. And so how my husband and I eat and exercise in order to keep ourselves healthy have to be a little different because we're just not built the same. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to compare myself to my husband. I don't want his body, and I don't think he wants my body. But I have girlfriends who are super long and lean, and they're very skinny. And it doesn't matter how many lunges, squats, and how little food I eat. There are parts to my body, namely like my quads, my thighs, my hamstrings, that will never ever look like these girls. It doesn't matter how I cut it, okay? So it won't happen, and so I have to be realistic. So one of the first things that I do is I actually, when I note, again, I've been at this for a long time, so for me, I personally really don't try to compare myself to other women. I've trained my mind enough to say, own me, and we'll get to that here in a second. But just know that when you're kind of looking at other people's bodies, and let's be honest, we all do it, just know that like they legitimately can be built totally different than you. And you know what? That's fine. That's by God's design that he's done it that way. And so you will, when you exercise and lose weight or put on muscle or whatever, it's gonna look different for you versus someone else. So keep that in mind. So the mesomorph, again, is someone who, is highly muscular. Again, they have a high metabolism for the most part, can put on muscle, take it off easily. The endomorph is more of a pear shape. They have a tendency to kind of store fat a little bit more. And so they may have a different struggle in regards to their fitness. And then the ectomorphs are, long and lean, and that, I don't know. I don't even want to say traditional model look because I feel like that's not even fair to say. Okay, so know that there are different body types. Okay, that's number one. Number two, understand that there are different seasons of life. Okay, there are different seasons of life that your body looks different. Now, at its base and its core, I think that the structure and the way that you can put on muscle and lose muscle, put on fat and lose fat, I think at its core, that is probably going to stay the same. But I will say this, there are different seasons that your body goes through. So when I was pregnant and nursing my children, my body just held on to fat a little bit more. And that was a healthy part of my metabolism of what I needed to do. And so it didn't matter at that time how much or little I was exercising. There was just something different about my body that wasn't going to be there when I wasn't pregnant or nursing. Some women, most women, as we move into the menopausal age and hormonally, you're gonna also kind of find some differences there in your body. And again, I think you can have that basic shape and structure, but I also believe that it's going to kind of just be different. So for a 45-year-old woman to compare her body to a 20-year-old girl or a 16-year-old girl, you laugh, but it happens. We do this. I don't know if we realize it, but we do this. Is not fair. It's just like not even fair, actually. So understand that there are different seasons of life that your body just is a little different. And that's okay. That's totally fine. All right, number 3, I want you to work within your body shape and your body type. All right, so you're starting an exercise program. And you're like, I want to be ripped. I don't know. Maybe some of you don't. Maybe some of you do. Maybe some of you are just like, I just want to be skinny. Maybe some of you are like, I just want to have better abs. I don't really know. So you start a program. This is very normal. You start a program and you start eating and you start exercising, you start lifting weights or whatever. And again, you're 6 weeks into it and you're like, you're looking good. I mean, you've lost weight, you've put on some muscle, all that kind of stuff. But you're like still frustrated with yourself. Now, I look at women all the time in this, and I'm like, come on now. Now we're getting a little vain if you are doing things and making great changes towards your health, and you're still just like, wah, wah, I don't look like blank, this person or whatever. Or I don't look like when I was 23. Okay, let's get a grip here, okay? Let's work within that body shape and that body type that you have. All right, so maybe you won't ever look like that particular trainer or your favorite social media blogger. There's so many fitness bloggers out there. Oh my word. I think that's contributed to a whole bunch of this kind of mess, is the inundation of a lot of fitness people, which I think is great. I love all the resources, don't get me wrong. But I think that that's made it very difficult. So you've got to work within your own body shape and body type. So you really need to do you. Actually, I think I just saw someone write that. Do you, I do me, whatever. And it's so true. You kind of have to own what that is and what you have, okay? All right, my next point is this. You can appreciate someone else's body without actually wanting someone else's body. All right, so I don't want this to incriminate me. Let's just say this. I like a nice, strong, fit girl. I'll actually like a girl that maybe has 5-10 pounds more on her if she actually stepped on a scale, that has some nice muscle to her, that can go out there and train and be tough, haul a grocery here and a baby here all the time, kicking this and not falling over, right? I like that, okay? You may not, and that's totally fine. So I kind of like that strong, fit girl. Some of you, again, may like a totally different look of someone else. That doesn't mean I can't appreciate a girl who is also healthy and maybe thinner and doesn't carry the type of muscle, or perhaps can't train or run or exercise like I do. And I think that that is a really important point. So just because someone maybe doesn't look like what you think is healthy, doesn't mean you should be a hater. Like, be kind. Don't be a mean girl. Like, don't be a mean girl. Be like, that's great that she likes to do that. I'm so glad that she's healthy and exercising and trying to be mindful about what she's eating and all that kind of stuff. So know that you can appreciate someone else's body without even wanting it. I understand that people don't necessarily like how I look. Like, I think muscle's an acquired taste. I don't, not everybody likes it. Not everybody likes, a whole bunch of other, I don't know, just a whole bunch of stuff. And I personally do, but I think it's an acquired taste, and that's fine. Like, if you don't like that I have biceps and shoulders and bigger legs, then I'm totally cool with that. So anyways, all that to say, I'm going off on a little tangent. Just don't be a mean girl. You can be kind and be like, you go girl. I like the way that you look. I'm glad that you're healthy and that you're taking it into your own hands there. Along the same lines, the next point is this. You want to, in the reverse, there's this thing called like skinny shaming, I think is what they call it. And it's basically when you kind of look at a super skinny girl and you're like, eat a cheeseburger or something like that. I think we've all probably said that or thought that. I have friends and my husband who are just naturally super skinny people, right? And they are eating cheeseburgers. And it's not kind to say that. There are people who actually have their metabolisms or just some other things that are going on in their life or in their body. They're not able to put on weight. So just like people shouldn't be fat shaming, you know, I don't think we should be looking at people and be like, boy, that person just loves to eat cheeseburgers or they're just so lazy or something like that. In the reverse, let's be kind to the other side who can't control that. I referenced last week a girlfriend who's trying to put on 10 pounds. She's not, you know, it's not her fault that she's very, very thin. And people can say some really mean things, okay? Just don't be that girl. Just don't be that girl. Don't be mean like that. Just be kind. Who cares what she's doing, you know, unless you see something harmful. But anyways, just don't reverse shame, okay? I don't want you to do that. Okay, the final point is this. God is a master designer. God is a master designer. My goodness, look at this creation. Look at what he has put together. Now, of course, some of you may be like, I don't even believe what you believe about creation, about God. Okay, that's fine. So you're not going to agree with me on this point. I, however, believe that God is the creator, the beginning and the end, who has he has no bound, like everything that he can create and he wants, it happens like this, and it did. And so he created our bodies. And so I want us to embrace our design for our bodies. And that means that he created me to be 5'4". I have an athletic build. I have ever since day one. If you even look back into my junior high and high school sports days, my pictures, I just have always had an athletic build. It's just who I am, and my muscle has muscle memory, and so it's continued on. So for me to not appreciate that, and for me to desire to look like a girl who is 5'10" and a lot skinnier and thinner, whatever, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of like a slap in the face to our creator. He specifically said, Claire, this is how I created you to be. And so he's done the same thing for you. He is a master designer. You see, we are not robots. God didn't create us robots at all, like not in personality, not in the way that we look, not even in our spiritual gifts. And I kind of want to talk about that. And I thought about kind of bringing this subject in this Facebook Live, but I'll be honest, it would be a whole nother probably hour for me to talk about this. So maybe we'll talk about it in the future. But 1 Corinthians 12, and it's talking about the spiritual gifts and one body and many parts, and how God himself, he has created everybody to be very specific. So listen to this. But in fact, God has arranged the parts in the body, every one of them, just as he wanted them to be. If they were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. Also in 12:11, it says, all these are the work of one and the same Spirit, and he gives them to each one just as he determines. And he's talking about the gifts of the Spirit. Or our spiritual gifts. And so I know it's talking about, you know, the body of Christ. And again, there's a lot of parallels here. But if God can be that specific and decisive about what he wants to give to you, about your role in the church, about your role as a believer, about your role today in 2017 with your specific wiring, about your spiritual gifts that there's no doubt that he has put on you, he has breathed into you, whether you want to believe it or not, he has, then why wouldn't he be very specific about a multitude of other things in life, right? Including our bodies. Again, it just goes to show that he is just this huge creator and that he desires that diversity and interest. And so should we. I don't want to look at everybody that looks the same in the world. That's not interesting to me. There's something beautiful about all of my girlfriends. And I mean guys, but we're talking about girls here. And so I think it's a good thing. So 1 Thessalonians 5, I feel like I bring this one up a ton too, every Facebook Live, says this: may God himself, the God of peace, sanctify you through and through. May your whole spirit, soul, and body be kept blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. So again, God himself, he's going to help you through this, you guys. He's going to help you through any type of insecurity that you might have with your body. Your whole spirit, soul, and body is to be kept blameless until the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. Don't you think that when this was written, the assumption was that you weren't going to be like, things in your seasons in your life weren't always going to be the same, but the inherent person of who you are and God created you to be was going to be the same? And so again, it's that idea of knowing kind of who you are in Christ and how he's made you, both internally and physically, and then applying that in that seasonal shift, right? And understanding, how does that work for my life today? All right, and I think that's important. So what I want to leave you with is this. When you are stuck, when you're having one of those moments and you're like, I really wish that I looked like her, or you're discontent, like you're doing the work, girl. You're getting the workouts in, you are drinking your water, you are eating the foods as best as you can. When you are doing those things and then all of a sudden someone comes across your path, or you see a picture on Instagram of a girl who's working out and you're like, I just don't look like her. I just don't look like her. And then you're upset. I want you to know that that's a little bit of Satan's playground right there. That he's sitting in there and he's like, this is so simple. I just play a little comparison game with her and she's down like this. She was doing good. She was content in the circumstances and the life that God had given her. But just like that, boom, drop. So first of all, know that it's a spiritual battle. Know that it's not just the fleshly battle. We always immediately start with the flesh battle. But Ephesians 6 tells us that that's not the case, that we have some spiritual battle going on around us, something that's always trying to draw us down and to keep us distracted from the main thing, right? From the main thing, which is knowing Christ, making his name known, and bringing others along with us, right? And so that is the main thing. So Satan, yeah, you can better believe he's going to do anything to be like, boom, I've got her down. And he does that, I think, in comparison with women in our bodies. So as soon as you know that, here's what you've got to do. You've got to take that captive. 1 Corinthians 10 tells us that we take our thoughts captive to Christ. So you've got to know it first. You've got to be able to say, dang, like, yeah, I just actually was comparing myself with this other girl. And then you need to say, that is great for that girl. She is doing an awesome job. There's no hate. I don't need you to like throw any shade on her. Just appreciate that for what it is. And then I need you to turn your vision up. I need you to look straight up to the Father and say, all right, God, how can I love your design for my body? How can I love your design for my body? How can I be content with this? You know, what do I need to do? Where do I need to change in my heart or in my mind? Help me to shift that perspective. And then be thankful. Be very thankful for that body that moves. I was reading a Facebook status I had written a couple years ago. It came up on my Facebook memories. And it was talking about one reason that I like working out, and it was for the pure reason that I actually physically could. At the time, I had a number of friends who were in the hospital, a couple who had cancer, one of which passed away months later, who were bound up and not able to do so much of what I take for granted every single day, which is dropping down and picking up all those annoying toys on the floor, or going up and down the stairs with the laundry, or grabbing my kiddos up and hugging them, lacing up shoes, walking, running, all of those basic things. See, I don't know why we overshoot this, but we should be so thankful for that we have that ability, because we may not. And it's in God's sovereignty if that's the season he brings us to. That doesn't mean it's a worse plan for our life if we get to a season where we're not able to do those things. I don't want to make it sound like you've got to be just the super healthy guru to have the blessing and the favor of the Lord. But I will say this, I think too many of us are not thankful enough, nor are we content with kind of the abilities that we have every single day, right? And so we have got to be able, we are strong women now. We are strong women physically, but we are strong women spiritually. And those are the type of warriors that we want to create in this community. Is just to be able to go out there and be like, you know, Satan, you messed with the wrong woman here. Yeah, I can drop kick and I'm going to drop kick you. Okay, those are the types of things I tell Satan. You can imagine what my prayer life is like half the time. But anyways, you have to be very fervent about that. And girls, ladies, this is going to be something probably a long time that you're going to struggle with. You know, I don't know what age this stops. I have no idea, if I'm being honest. I don't know if you're 65 and struggle with this, or 80. I'm 37. So I only know my reality right now. But we want to make sure that we are setting up that good foundation. Final note is this. I have a daughter. Many of you probably have daughters. If you don't have a daughter, you probably have a daughter-in-law, or you're going to have granddaughters or something like that. This is a real issue. This is a huge issue. At young ages, they are being told to look a certain way, or they're being shown on media, Instagram, Facebook, Disney Channel, I don't know, whatever, kind of what a norm is. And so that starts for them, right? And so they're going to start this kind of struggle, this little balance and this battle of is this the body that I want? And guess what? Do you know whose opportunity it is? Who gets the chance to breathe life into these girls? Not by perfection, but by being led by the Spirit, filled with grace. It's us. It is us right here. It's me speaking life into my daughter. When I go speak at her school, or my college students that I teach classes to, I have that chance to be like, this is the body God wants to give you. This is the life he wants to give you. And so guys, if you can't chase after your health for anything, chase after it for the legacy that you can leave. You know, chase after it, because that's so, so important. And I see it. See, I spend most of my days reversing or working on reversing the implications of what women have, you know, dealt with since they've been young. Yeah, so it's like thinking when they were 12, or something someone said to them when they were 8, or how they, I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. And they're 47. That's been ingrained a long time, right? So you now have the opportunity. You're on the front end. You can like set that normal for them, and you can lead the pack. And again, guys, it's not about perfection. We're not going to nail it. I certainly don't nail it in this area, but I can lead them to the one who does nail it, and the one who's always going to give that peace and that light and the truth. Okay? And so if anything, I just want you to remember that those girls in your life, they're watching. They really are. It's kind of scary how this works, but I don't want you to be scared by that. I want you to take that as an opportunity, and I want you to empower yourself. Okay? So real quick, I want to go through just the 5 points that I had, and then we're going to tie this up. If you have some questions at the end, I'll do a live Q&A. Number 1, understand there are different body types: mesomorph, endomorph, ectomorph. God maybe just didn't give you that blank body that you really like, that your favorite trainer has. Take it up with him. Don't take it up with anyone else, your personal trainer. We get beat up all the time about this. Take it with God. Ask him about it. Talk to him about it. He'll be like, oh, cool. I've been waiting for you to bring this up. I created you. Let's talk about it. All right, number 2, understand there are different seasons of life. So again, as you're young in your 20s, the way that body build looks is gonna be different when you're pregnant and nursing versus when you're moving into menopause. And okay, alrighty, we're aging gracefully, right? Number 3, I want you to work within your body shape. So when you're doing your workouts and you're frustrated because you don't look like this girl, maybe it's just because you're not gonna look like this girl, but you can look amazing like you. And so that's what I want you to do. I want you to kind of own it a little bit. The next one, number 4, is you can appreciate someone else's body without wanting it. So this is kind of that mean girl syndrome where you're like, I don't really like that look personally. But that's okay. We still love her and appreciate her and are cheering her on, right? For whatever reason, we kind of get nasty about that. So don't be a mean girl. The next one would be stop the reverse shaming, the skinny shaming. Sometimes we fat shame, but I want you to stop the skinny shaming. Some people, their metabolism, they're just not able to put on weight. So don't make comments like, go eat a cheeseburger, girl, or something like that. Let's not do that, okay? It's just not kind. It's not the kind of stuff that Christians need to be saying out of our mouths. The final thing is this: God is a master designer, so I want you to embrace his design for your body, right? We are not robots. We are all unique. In scripture, when I read in 1 Corinthians, we saw that he has wired us differently in our spiritual giftings, about the works that we do for him. Clearly, we know it in personality. He has made this beautiful, diverse culture. And so why on earth do we all want to look like one another? We don't. God is amazing. And so we want to embrace that, okay? And then the final thing is this, I tacked one on, is about the daughters, about leaving that legacy and setting that example, not by perfection for them, but by being there, and by love, and by grace, and by coaching them along through this process as they're getting older, about understanding what their bodies are doing and not doing, and just being there as a mom or as a friend, as an aunt, as a grandma, I don't know, as an instructor. You have influence there, guys. You have influence, and so that should motivate you. Okay, woo! That was a lot, you guys. I hope it made sense. Just a little bit of what I wanted to share with you. So do you have any questions, either about this particular Facebook Live or anything else burning on your heart? As usual, if you appreciated this, I would love it if you shared it, for sure. Always appreciate having new like-minded people on my page. Thank you, Joyce. Appreciate it. You guys are sweet. God is not wrong, that's right. God is not wrong, that's right. All right, well, we got some questions. Anything here? What time is it? 3 o'clock. Woo. I always feel like it's gonna be a 15-minute Facebook Live and it ends up usually being 30. That tells you about my gift of gab. All right, guys, I don't see any questions popping along today. Anything? All right, well, thank you very much. I'll hopefully be here next week and we'll go from there. Does God want us to eat healthily? Sure, why not? I mean, he's created amazing food naturally. If we eat the natural foods that he kind of created by design, they are healthy. Does that mean that you can't enjoy cake, a glass of wine, and chocolate? No. But I think that we know how to, I think healthily also is very relative. Let's also say that. I feel like another Facebook Live is going to be talking about defining healthy, because that's not across the board. So thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I'm hopping on a coaching call here in about 25 minutes. So I think I'm going to close this up for today. So thank you again. If you have any other questions as you think about it, go ahead and we'll go from there. All right, guys, we'll see ya.